Joining me now is royal and entertainment reporter Kinsey Schofield. Kinsey, let's talk about this new biography looking into the Beckhams, and it makes claims about Meghan Markle deluding herself into thinking she was of a higher social rank.
A single sentence from Victoria Beckham stopped an entire gala and possibly shattered Meghan Markle's carefully crafted public image. It was short, sharp, and the silence afterwards said everything. For most of her career, Victoria Beckham mastered the art of silence. From pop icon to fashion powerhouse, she became one of Britain's most respected and private and public figures. So when Meghan Markle joined the royal spotlight, it wasn't surprising that Victoria was among the first to welcome her in. Back in 2017, when Meghan's relationship with Prince Harry was still making headlines, Victoria quietly reached out.
Oh my gosh, and this is Tom Bower, who's such an incredible author, wrote Revenge, that amazing Harry and Meghan book, where in that book he specifically says Harry accused David Beckham. He said, is Victoria leaking stories about Meghan? How are people finding out?
According to multiple sources, she offered Meghan exclusive introductions, top-tier stylists, private spa referrals, and even early access to pieces from her upcoming fashion lines. To outsiders, it looked like the start of a powerful friendship. The two were seen together at Wimbledon, whispering and laughing courtside. Victoria reportedly sent stylists to Kensington Palace for private fittings. Meghan, in turn, praised Victoria's designs in interviews and was often spotted in Beckham pieces during official engagements. Fashion insiders described it as more than PR. It was personal. Victoria didn't have to help Meghan. She chose to. For a while, the friendship seemed effortless. Victoria's team quietly celebrated their growing royal connection, and Meghan's image as a modern duchess blossomed, partly shaped by the British fashion elite that Victoria helped her navigate. In an industry built on loyalty and image, the partnership was a win-win. But behind the scenes, cracks were beginning to form, and what started as quiet support would soon unravel into something much more complicated. By late 2019, something had clearly shifted. The public didn't know it yet, but behind the scenes, the once friendly dynamic between Meghan Markle and Victoria Beckham had gone cold fast. Around this time, several tabloids began hinting that Meghan suspected someone close to her had been leaking private details to the press. Though no names were officially mentioned, online speculation exploded. One name kept popping up again and again: Victoria Beckham. It started with vague headlines. A friend from the fashion world betrayed her trust. Leaks came from within her inner circle. Social media took it from there. Twitter threads went viral connecting dots between Meghan's wardrobe details and supposed press leaks, many of which involved designers and stylists tied to Victoria's circle. One tweet from that period resurfaced recently and racked up tens of thousands of likes in a matter of hours. It read, "Crazy how Meghan cut off Victoria after those leaks. Now it all makes sense." The online crowd didn't need solid proof. They saw a narrative they wanted to believe. Meanwhile, Victoria and David Beckham, once photographed attending royal events and private Sussex gatherings, quietly disappeared from the scene. Their absence didn't go unnoticed. The Beckhams had been early allies, yet when Meghan and Harry began distancing themselves from the royal family, the Beckhams were no longer part of the picture. Still, neither side said a word publicly. No statements, no denials, no dramatic fallout stories in the press, just silence, which only added fuel to the rumors. Victoria chose to stay quiet. Meghan didn't address it either. For years, the tension lived in whispers. Until that night at the London Gala, when Victoria said the one sentence that flipped the entire story on its head. It happened during what was supposed to be a quiet, polished evening. A private fashion gala in London, filled with designers, journalists, and industry insiders. Victoria Beckham had just finished presenting an award to an up-and-coming designer when someone in the crowd, almost jokingly, asked her about the old Meghan Markle rumors. For years, Victoria had deflected those questions. She never engaged, never fed the gossip. But this time she paused. Then, with one hand on the podium, she looked directly at the reporter and said, "I kept quiet too long. People need to know what she did. That was it. No names, no elaboration." But everyone in the room knew exactly who she meant. The silence that followed was heavy. Cameras stopped clicking. Conversations halted. One journalist's phone had been rolling, just an 11-second clip. But by morning, it had more than 4 million views online. The internet exploded. Headlines didn't need confirmation. Victoria Beckham shatters silence on Meghan Markle fallout. Comment sections turned into full-blown investigations. But what came next wasn't just speculation. It was the ripple effect of others finally speaking up. Two stylists who had worked with Meghan early in her royal journey came forward. They claimed they had been introduced to Meghan through Victoria's team and had poured time, energy, and creativity into last-minute fittings, private house calls, and tight deadline wardrobe planning. But within months, they said, Meghan began shutting them out, cutting off communication, and worse, allegedly spreading word that they were unprofessional. "We kept quiet because we didn't want to cause waves," one stylist told a UK fashion blog, but after what Victoria said, I can't stay silent anymore. And they weren't the only ones. An anonymous designer posted online claiming that Victoria had paid fees on Meghan's behalf to help support up-and-coming British talent, and was never reimbursed. Meghan allegedly cut contact soon after. Whether true or not, the post caught fire. Within 6 hours, it had over 80,000 likes. People didn't wait for receipts. They were already building a narrative, and Victoria's single sentence had unlocked a flood of long-held resentment. What started as whispers quickly escalated into something much bigger. As more people came forward, a clearer and far more troubling pattern began to emerge. This wasn't just a personal falling out between two high-profile women. It looked like a trail of broken trust, professional damage, and reputations quietly destroyed. Two stylists confirmed that Meghan had not only ghosted them, but allegedly spread negative comments that impacted their careers. They said they were labeled untrustworthy by insiders and quietly excluded from opportunities, even as Meghan's team continued to use their design concepts without credit. "We worked ourselves to the bone for her," one said. "Then we were cut off, not just by Meghan, but by everyone who took her word as gospel." But the most jarring claim came from a charity organizer who had worked with both women. According to them, Meghan had directly intervened in a joint charity project for children's hospitals, one where Victoria was set to be the headline partner. It was supposed to be a landmark collaboration, royalty and fashion working together for a good cause. Then, suddenly, Victoria's name vanished from promotional materials. Behind the scenes, Meghan allegedly told organizers, "This isn't about brands. It's about Harry and my vision. We need different partnerships for alignment." Translation: Victoria Beckham was out. One email, allegedly leaked from a Sussex staffer, didn't help Meghan's case. It read, "Per Duchess's request, please consider alternative fashion sponsorship. C. Concerns have been raised about brand alignment and external press narratives." To many, it sounded like a calculated move to push Victoria out, not because of the cause, but because of optics. Victoria, insiders said, was devastated. She had committed months of unpaid work, lent her name and influence, and then was dismissed without explanation. A longtime Beckham family friend put it bluntly, she wasn't just excluded, she was humiliated. And still, Victoria said nothing. Until now. When the London Gala clip went viral, the backlash turned fierce. Online reaction was swift and overwhelmingly in Victoria's favor. One viral tweet read, "Imagine asking Victoria Beckham for help, then ghosting her like she's some disposable brand deal. Cold." And while Meghan's team remained silent, the people around Victoria kept speaking, making it harder and harder to ignore the full weight of what had gone down. With Victoria's one sentence still echoing through headlines, the story didn't cool off. It erupted. Not because Victoria gave more details, but because everyone else suddenly did. Stylists, designers, charity organizers, even fashion editors who'd once kept quiet, all started talking. And the message was clear. This wasn't just a rift, it was a betrayal. Victoria's team released a short but emotional statement to a UK fashion outlet. "For years, I chose silence out of respect for everyone involved. But silence sometimes protects the wrong people. It's time for the truth." That single quote hit like a thunderclap. This wasn't some offhand gala comment anymore. Victoria Beckham, known for her discretion, was going public and doing it with intention. The fashion world took notice immediately. A Vogue editor tweeted, "Victoria has built an empire on elegance and restraint. If she's talking, something really hurt her." Over 60,000 likes. Social media went into meltdown. Hashtags like #VictoriaSpeaks and Meghan Exposed started trending globally. One tweet summed up the internet's reaction. First Netflix, now Victoria Beckham. Who's next? But the most unexpected signal came from someone who hadn't said a single word, David Beckham. David posted a photo on Instagram of the Beckham family laughing around a dinner table. The caption, "Truth always comes out in the end. No tags, no explanation, just that." Within minutes, it had over 1 million likes. Fans instantly connected it to the scandal. Top comment, "That's not just a family photo, that's a message." Even Victoria's celebrity circle, famously tight-lipped, started chiming in subtly. A supermodel friend posted 3 heart emojis. A designer reshared the photo, writing, "Some people confuse kindness for weakness." And still, Meghan said nothing. That silence was deafening, not just from her, but from her usual allies. Oprah? No comment. Serena Williams? Quiet. Even Harry, who's always stood by her publicly, was seen arriving at LAX, head down, avoiding reporters. The lack of support spoke volumes. People online began calling it Meghan's Beckham problem, the one scandal she couldn't PR spin away. One fashion journalist tweeted, "If Victoria's out, doors close, fast." This wasn't a tabloid drama anymore. It was a credibility crisis, a reckoning, and Victoria's quiet dignity was only making Meghan's silence look worse by the hour. As the scandal spread across platforms and front pages, the one person who could have stopped it, Meghan Markle, said nothing. And in the world of high-stakes PR, silence isn't just risky, It's revealing. The longer Meghan stayed quiet, the louder the backlash became. Victoria wasn't doing interviews, wasn't leaking more information, and yet the story kept growing. That's because the people around her, those who had also stayed silent for years, were finally speaking out. More stylists confirmed Meghan's early fashion circle came entirely from Victoria's introductions. They said they had stayed quiet to protect their futures. Now, they felt free to tell the truth. One even said, "If Victoria hadn't spoken, none of us would have dared. But once she did, the dam broke." Then came a twist nobody saw coming. A 14-second audio clip uploaded late one night. A woman's voice, calm but sharp, says, "She's lucky I don't say what I know about her." No names, no context. But the uploader claimed it was Meghan, and within hours, millions believed it. The voice sounded uncannily like hers. Whether it was real or not, people didn't wait for confirmation. The narrative was already set. Meghan wasn't just cold or dismissive, she was now allegedly threatening one of Britain's most admired women. The internet went wild. Threatening Victoria Beckham? She's finished. One tweet pulled in 180,000 likes. Even Meghan's most loyal fan accounts hesitated. One popular account deleted its pinned defense of her and replaced it with a single line. "If that audio's real, I don't know what to say anymore." Victoria didn't respond directly to the voice note, but someone close to her did, telling reporters, she's disappointed but not surprised. That line, short, subtle, and cutting, swept across social media like wildfire. It painted a picture of someone who had expected this. Someone who had been holding back a storm of receipts but chose dignity instead. And while Meghan's team reportedly scrambled behind the scenes, late-night calls, emergency PR meetings, legal reviews, they still made no public move. That vacuum only amplified Victoria's side of the story. Even major outlets started using language that would have been unthinkable a year ago. The Beckham betrayal, Meghan's unraveling, from Duchess to drama, it was no longer a question of who said what, and it was a battle of silence. And Victoria was winning it. Just when it seemed the firestorm might fade, the most explosive development yet began circulating. Victoria Beckham was considering sitting down for a tell-all interview. Not a vague quote at a gala, not a repost or an insider leak, a direct, on-camera interview, something she had never done before to address personal drama. According to a close friend of Victoria, she feels like people only know half the story. She's ready to tell the rest. That single sentence sent social media into a tailspin. If Victoria does an interview, Meghan's finished. The Beckhams don't talk unless they have receipts. Meghan better prepare. This isn't going away. Each tweet gained tens of thousands of likes. Fashion bloggers, pop culture commentators, and even former royal insiders agreed. If Victoria truly opens up, it would be devastating. Meghan's PR team reportedly entered full crisis mode. Emergency strategy calls were held, legal options were reviewed. The situation was described internally as unprecedented, not because of the fallout, but because of who it was coming from. Victoria wasn't a tabloid regular. She wasn't out for attention. That made her accusations cut deeper. Her public silence for years had given her credibility. And now, her willingness to speak only made people more curious about what she'd been holding back. But there was one massive problem Meghan's team couldn't overcome. They still hadn't responded to Victoria's original quote. No tweet, no comment, no denial. And the longer the silence stretched on, the more it looked like an admission. Meanwhile, Victoria's image was only growing stronger. She wasn't attacking. She wasn't lashing out. She was calm, measured, and quietly supported by industry giants. Designers reposted her quote. Celebrities liked David's post. And fans flooded her social media with messages of solidarity. "Proud of you for finally speaking. Thank you for showing grace under fire. You stayed classy while the other side played dirty." Even fashion journalists who once praised Meghan's style began pointing out something ironic. Meghan's most iconic early looks were styled by people Victoria had introduced. One editor wrote, "The Meghan aesthetic? It was built on Victoria's network. That's what makes this fallout so brutal." As for Victoria, she hasn't confirmed any interview yet, but insiders say the conversation is already happening, and the world is waiting. Meghan's Hollywood future may hang on what comes next, because this isn't just drama anymore, it's legacy.